Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to today's lesson. Our topic of discussion will be weather and climate, and our subtopic will be factors affecting climate. Before we look at the factors affecting climate, I would like to define these two words. The first word is weather. The term weather simply means the daily changes of the atmosphere of a place at a particular time. Weather can be described as rainy, windy, cloudy, and sunny. The second term is climate. The word climate, it is the average weather condition of a place recorded over a long period of time, and it is usually between 30 to 35 years. Climate can be described as hot and wet, hot and dry, and cool and wet. This takes us to the factors affecting climate. Factors affecting climate are things which influence the climate of a particular place. We have several factors affecting climate. Number one, we have relief. Number two, we have altitude. Number three, we have latitudes. Number four, we have nearness to a large water body. Number five, we have winds. Number six, we have nature of the coastline. And finally, the ocean currents. Let us discuss relief as the first factor affecting climate. The term relief means the general appearance of the landscape in relation to altitude. And the main relief feature that affects climate, it is a mountain. When wind blows across the land and reach mountain areas, they are forced up the mountain. If these winds were moist, they are condensed, and then they influence the formation of rainfall on that side of a mountain. On the other side of a mountain, the descending winds are cool and dry. These winds, they discourage the formation of rainfall on the other side of a mountain. So the side of a mountain that receives rainfall, it is called a windward side, while the side of a mountain that does not receive rainfall or receive very little rainfall is referred to as leeward side or rain shadow. The climate on the windward side of a mountain is described as cool and wet, while the climate on the other side of a mountain is described as hot and dry. But the reason why these two sides have different climate, it is because of this relief feature. So the factor that affected the climate of these two areas, that is windward side and the leeward side, is relief. The type of rainfall received in this area is referred to as relief rainfall or orographic rainfall. The second factor affecting climate is latitude, and in this case, latitude refers to the distance north or south of the equator. Latitudes closer to the equator are called low latitudes, and while latitudes far from the equator are referred to as high latitudes. Areas around the equator experience high temperatures. While you move away from the equator, temperatures decrease. The third factor affecting climate is altitude. Altitude means the height above sea level. Temperatures decrease with the rise in altitude. Areas with high altitude such as mountain and highlands, they experience cooler temperatures as compared to coastal areas and lake basin areas. The fourth factor affecting climate is winds. Winds, these are air in motion. We have two types of winds. The first type of winds are called onshore winds. Onshore winds, they blow from the sea to the land. They carry a lot of moisture from the sea to the land. They encourage the formation of rainfall. The second type of winds we have are called offshore winds. The offshore winds, they blow from the land to the sea. They carry all the moisture from the land, leaving the land dry. Hence, they discourage the formation of rainfall on the land they blow across. Examples of onshore winds, we have westerly winds. Westerly winds, they blow in Mediterranean region, encouraging rainfall formation in this region. Another example of onshore winds, we have southeast trade winds. Southeast trade winds, they encourage rainfall formation in East African coasts. Examples of offshore winds, we have Harmattan winds. Harmattan winds, they blow across Sahara Desert, discouraging rainfall formation in that region, or rather in that desert. And then we have northeastern trade winds. They are also examples of offshore winds which they discourage rainfall formation in the Horn of Africa. Climate is also affected by ocean currents. An ocean current is a horizontal movement of water in the sea. An ocean current can either be cold or warm depending on where it's blowing from. All ocean currents blowing from the poles, that is North Pole and the South Poles, are described as cold ocean currents, while those currents blowing from the equator, around the equator area, they are described as warm current. Winds blowing over a warm current towards land encourage the formation of rainfall to the land adjacent to the sea, while winds blowing over a cold current towards the land, they discourage formation of rainfall to the land adjacent to the sea. Distance from a large water body can also affect the climate of a place. Areas near large water bodies receive more rainfall than areas far away from the large water body. A large water body can help to modify the climate of a place. These areas, they experience a type of rainfall called convectional rainfall. And areas where convectional rainfall is received, they experience a hot and wet climate. The last factor affecting climate is the nature of the coastline. A coastline can either be regular or irregular. A regular coastline is almost straight, while irregular coastline is rugged. Winds that blow along a regular coastline, they discourage formation of rainfall. For example, Mogadishu is found along a regular coastline. It receives very little rainfall because the coastline is a regular one. So the winds that blows along this area, they discourage formation of rainfall. Winds that blow along irregular coastline, they encourage formation of rainfall. For example, we have a city like Mombasa. Mombasa is found along an irregular coastline, and it receives more rainfall because the coastline around that area is irregular, and the winds that blows there, they encourage the formation of rainfall. So you find that the climate in Mombasa is different from the climate in Mogadishu because of the nature of the coastlines. Thanks for watching the video. Let us meet in the next lesson, inshallah. Ramadan Kareem.
I'll see